Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Gabby, and I am joined here with Bridget Barnes of Boys Town's Common Sense Parenting. And today we are going to be discussing keeping kids safe online. Now, we know that keeping kids safe online is a relevant topic year round, but of course, with the summer coming up and kids having a lot more free time, there is always an increased risk for kids to run into some trouble online. So, today we're going to be talking with Bridget about various tips, tricks, and just general advice on ways to keep your kids safe as they browse on the internet and other social media applications. If you have any questions for Bridget as we go through this Facebook Live, please feel free to leave them in the comment section and we can try and get them answered at the end. And as always, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and make sure to share with all of your other parenting friends who may find this advice useful. All right, Bridget, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Pretty good. No, it's not raining outside, so I'm happy.
Yes, that is always good. Definitely a mood booster for all of us. Okay, so the first question kind of goes with beginning phases of using the internet. So this parent asks, what age should I allow my child to begin browsing online? He is 11 years old and wants to play games on the computer.
Well, I think 11 is a reasonable age to let kids browse online, but it's always good to make sure that you have your computer in a public place, that children are not alone while browsing so that you can be able to see. And also just make sure that you put protections on the computers that they're using or the screens that they're using, so that they don't kind of wander into places. Sometimes you can just end up somewhere you didn't want to be, so that can kind of protect them. So I think 11 is a fine age, and for you to allow your child to browse online with your supervision.
hmm What about younger than 11? Let's say we have some parents who maybe have, 8 to 9 year olds or whatnot. What age do you think is too young, and maybe what age is okay to start?
Well, I'm going to tell you a funny little story. My grandson, when he was 4, remembered his mom's passcode to get on the computer and got on and browsed for Disney because he wanted to get. Now that's how bright he was, so we knew, okay, we need to watch
Yeah.
this. So kids are pretty savvy and used to the internet, and very comfortable in that medium. And so I just think you have to do it with supervision. The kids should know that they have to only get on it when you're around. So my grandson, he didn't get in trouble for being, on the internet per se. He got in trouble for not asking permission and not being supervised to be on the internet.
Yes.
So it's different for every kid. I have to tell parents all the time, behavior off the internet is the same as on the internet. So if you're not following instructions in the real world, you might not be following instructions online. So I would just say, monitor the child, and too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So overexposure to that. And very young, we know that the brains of very young children are more influenced. And so we really don't want them to be sitting on the internet all the time. It should be a special thing, kind of like what pop was for me or soda was when I was younger. That didn't happen every day. It was something that was special. And so it shouldn't be a thing that they just do every day, all day long.
hmm Yeah, and I love that you mentioned how tech savvy these, really young kids are because my cousin too, she is 4 years old and she knows how to swipe on the iPhone, enter the passcode, and pull up YouTube. So even if you think like, oh, they don't know how to, like, you would be surprised. And I know a lot of
Oh,
parents watching have the same kind of kids. So yeah, definitely supervision. Never leave, the phone or the computer because they will get
yep.
into it.
And it's their world. I mean,
Yeah.
that genie is out of the bottle. We're not going to be able to put that back. And should we? We really just should create safe spaces for children to use the internet, to interact with the internet, and for us to supervise to watch that the internet is appropriate and safe for our kids. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, what ground rules should parents set for their kids before allowing them internet access?
Hmm. Well, again, some of I've already mentioned that computers and screens are in communal or public spaces. As you get older, you might be able to use it in your room and you show that you're responsible. So the behavior I see you show on a daily basis in the home, like being responsible, picking up after yourself, following other rules, allows you to have internet space because I can trust you to be there because I can trust you with other things, smaller tasks or responsibilities. So I think that that's one of the rules is just to have places that it's not to be used, like at the dinner table, or when we're doing certain jobs, we don't want to have them have access to the internet, like when it's homework time. So places where that would not be accessible to children should also be identified in your rules. When to use it.
Yeah.
So sometimes kids just, I mean, a study was done a couple of years ago, so this is old data that, kids are spending an average per week 13 hours. And lots of parents that I shared that with said, I believe it's more hours than that, Bridget, on the internet.
Right.
And so that is a kind of a wake up call to us that kids are just really spending a lot of time. And with COVID and this whole epidemic, I think that, they're spending even more time with school and then the time they want to be on there talking with their friends or playing games. So we really have to get them involved in other activities. So part of the rule should be that to use the internet or to be on screen time, you have to have time in real life doing things. So it doesn't have to mean that every kid needs to be in a sport or that kind of, but they need to have other interests than just the internet.
Yeah.
So I think those kind of things, and then sit down and talk about to your kids, to talk with them, not just at them. Just so set the rules down, have a meeting, have a family meeting, talk about what the rules are, why they're there, how they're going to help them, and that we can discuss the rules as they learn and grow and get better. And it's going to help adults in the house as well. Sometimes adults are not doing so well with the internet and spending way too much time there. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Great ground rules. What should parents look out for when it comes to allowing kids internet experience? So I know we talked about how easy it is to get sucked into a rabbit hole, YouTube. Sometimes you find things on the internet that you don't even need to, like, how do I get on this kids? So what advice would you give?
Well, you're kind of going in and out, but I think I heard what you said, which was what should parents look out for when allowing their kids?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sorry.
if they're spending too much time on the internet it's kind of a go-to. So how much time are they spending, and is it extreme? It's just on there 24/7. Are their behaviors changing? Their personality, they're a lot more short or irritated, or they're saying things that are not like them. Maybe they're picking up things on the internet or from friends. Being a little bit more secretive about their use of the internet might be a little red flag that would go up. You can always research, if you have those protections on your child's computer, what they're looking at, how much time they're spending. So you can be able to kind of talk to them about that, what's going on and that kind of thing. So I think there's a couple of basic, how much time, are their behaviors changing? Are their personalities changing? Is it interfering with their sleep and their waking hours? All of those kind of things say to us, let's take a step back, talk to them about it, set up some better ground rules, and then follow through. That's the other thing. Sometimes parents make rules and then walk away as if just having the rule will make it come true. Well, no, you have to follow through on those rules and keep those rules as a conversation piece with your kids each day.
Yeah, definitely. And right along with this question, we had someone leave a comment asking, now that summer is here for some, otherwise it's close, should I allow my TV smart technology?
I didn't hear that last part. Would you say it again?
Yeah, so now that summer is here, should I allow my teen more technology time?
They can earn it. I don't mind kids earning more technology time by the behavior and the activities they're involved in. So if they're doing volunteer work, they're going to their camps, they're helping out around the house, maybe they can earn more time on the internet. So your virtual time is earned by real time.
Yes, I like that. Okay, how can I know if my child is using social networking apps appropriately? Is there a good monitoring system you recommend? Should I take their phone every night and look through it? I'm not really sure how far to go.
Well, taking their phone and going through it, I think if you're going to do that, and that's a choice for every parent to make, but I would say have your kiddo there with you going through it together, not take their phone and you look at it alone. A
Yeah,
lot of the safeguards that are out there in regards to protecting uh, our devices that parents can get to. You can just go and put that in the search. I'm not going to give a recommendation for voice out on any particular product,
yeah,
but I would say that just put a search in, and what you're going to find are a lot of different products. You can even go up to our site and ask that question as well, and you might see some information up there. But I would suggest just kind of shopping. Be a good shopper. Do your homework and kind of look into it. And what you're going to do is you're going to find out more than just someone telling you. Because what's good today about a product when it comes to the internet, tomorrow the internet has changed. And so what
right.
was good a couple of months ago might be, not so good today. So I would suggest just to do a little shopping with your kid too, and look at what's good, what's going to work for their device, what's going to work for you, and kind of test it out and do a little, comparison shopping in regards to what's good for you and what's good for your kiddo. And then when it comes to talking, just have conversations with your kid versus taking their devices and searching that out. If you can't trust them, you may want to do some work in real life about that trust issue and why you're not trusting. Are they doing things in real life that makes you not trust them? So they need to be working on that before you allow them to be in the virtual world without your supervision.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think just as you mentioned, going through the phone together, it'll show your child, I do trust you. I just think this is a good thing for us to do together just to make sure everything is working okay and you're using it.
Yep.
So, on the flip side, what do I do if I think my child has accessed inappropriate websites or apps? How can I talk to them?
Great question. And a lot of parents ask this question. What do I do when things do happen? My child has accessed something on the internet that is totally inappropriate. And we got this question from a dad last week in one of our parenting classes. The first thing I would tell every parent to do is don't overreact, to calm down. Make sure that you're calm so that you can really be able to talk and to listen to your kid. Okay? So that's the very first thing you do. And then I would really strongly suggest that they sit down and talk with your child and listen for the whole, just ask some open and closed-ended questions and hear your kid, you know. So I noticed when we went through your phone together that you had this website up and it's an inappropriate website. So tell me more. How did you get there? Why were you there? What was going on? How do you feel about that? What can you do? So it's kind of like just asking them to share with you, what's going on. And then once you really hear, maybe they got up there by accident. Maybe they didn't want to be there. Maybe it popped up as a screen and they thought it was something else. Uh, and then again, maybe they meant to go there. Okay, and let's talk about why you're there and those kind of things, because we know that the internet has a great influence on our kids. Even those augmentations to their face that they can do. Everybody thinks it's very sweet to look like a kitty cat, but when kids begin to think, well, my face doesn't look right, my nose is not right, my eyes are not right, and they're spending so much time trying to look differently on the internet and they think they don't look good, that messes with their self, worth. And I think it really influences them. So be okay to that things are not okay from time to time on the internet. There will be times where things are not okay. Be calm and be ready to have a conversation versus a lecture with your kids.
Yes, definitely. And I love what you said about making it not a lecture because I think, when a child finds out, like, oh no, my mom and dad saw this on my phone, I'm going to be in huge trouble. And then it'll start the conversation off negatively from the get go. But if you are willing to stay calm and make it more of an open conversation, like you said, can very much be a learning experience both for you and your child.
I think so. When I was growing up, my parents didn't know half the things I was thinking or doing, and there was no internet to record it. Thank you. But, and so I think for our kids and my grandkids now, I think this is a great opportunity to have real conversations about real things. It really is how we approach that, and that we show our kids that we're open to hearing them, number one, so that they can hear us.
Yes. Okay, the next one's pretty popular too. My child wants to spend all their time on the computer. He or she gets home from school and wants to play on the family desktop and sit. And then after that, how can I set better limits for them? With summer coming up, I don't want to spend all their
Okay, so I think I heard you say that kids are spending a lot of time on the internet before and after dinner, and summer's coming up, and we don't want our kiddos to spend so much time just sitting on the internet.
time. Mm-hmm.
Well, the one unfortunate but good thing about COVID, it is driving us all to want to be outside, and
Yes.
and I think also go for our kids. They want to be around other kids. They want to see people face to face. They want to be out. And so, but the interesting thing about young people that I notice when I'm around them is that they will have their phones in their hands next to their friend while texting their friend who's standing next to them and having this conversation. So it's like they're together, but I don't know. So the internet's still there. So, and that's the way of having a conversation. I thought, well, I'm here, so maybe they're having a conversation they don't want me to hear. So maybe that was what that was about. But definitely, when kids want too much of the internet, we should try to limit that and talk to them about the rules. Remember what the rules are. So you have to spend time doing the things you're going to do in the real world without your phone. And sometimes, having a little fasting from a phone fast, so to speak, where you're having some, downtime on your screen where it's not going to happen during the next 2 hours. We're just not, you're not accessible. Kids kind of freak out about that. Like, I won't know people are calling me for the next 2 hours. I mean, it's kind of a big concept for them, right? Yeah. So, but that's really, in the scheme of things, really a little amount of time. You can have an emergency ring, like if there's an emergency, we have to make sure that that's an emergency. But other than that, just trying to practice every day, taking some downtime so that they can be used to being away from their phone. They're just not used to it. So if you have a kid who's that, hungry about, I've got to have my phone before, after, during, all the time, or I've got to be on a screen all the time, you're probably allowing that too much and needs more monitoring. And they're not used to being away from it. So they need to have some downtime, practicing that every day, where, after a while, they'll just be used to, I can be 2 hours without a phone and not feel like I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. And something that I do actually, and quite a few of my friends do, is I try my best to not be on my phone for the first hour that I wake up. So that could be a good rule to as you're getting ready for school, getting ready for summer. The phone does not need to be in this process, and that way they're not sitting at the kitchen table eating their breakfast and scrolling through their TikTok.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great thought. You know, in the morning when we're getting ready, and at night when we're getting, you know, kind of wind down. So those
Yeah.
2 times you spend time with yourself, you spend time, you know, doing self-care, that you don't need to have that phone because it interrupts that every time.
Yeah. And research has shown too that it is so much harder to fall asleep at night if you have your phone and you're looking at a screen. I think I read something the other day, like 30 minutes before you go to bed, you guys should not use your phone, a computer, a TV, whatever it is, just because it's harder to fall asleep.
Yep.
Very
It's just it's the phone, the light, of course, in the phone, the interaction you're having to wake your brain up.
yeah.
That's the study you're talking about. Yes, does say that, you know, that it's not a good activity to do right before going to bed. It's like eating, like going before you go to bed. It's too much for the body. So, you know, but we're so used to having this phone. I mean, sometimes people just have it in their hands constantly. So being able to put a phone down, so getting kids used to putting a phone down and that it's not near them or not in their hand all the time. If you have a basket in the house, their phones can be in the area. They're just not attached to human bodies. So I think we really have gotten very bad about having this phone on us 24/7. We use it to wake up. We, you know, talk with it. We take pictures with it. We, you know, look up things. You know, we can talk and tell it to look for the directions. It's in our life. So we have to take very conscious steps to detaching it from ourselves by putting it in a basket away from yourself, like you say, to where it. When I do that, I know I'm getting ready for bed. I'm not going to touch it again. And in the morning, I'm not going to touch it again until after I finish eating and done whatever tasks I need to do for that morning.
Mm-hmm. What are some positive and negative consequences that parents can set when it comes to internet and phone access?
Well, I guess, you know, if you want to start out with, you know, the negative consequences.
Get the bad out of the way.
Get the bad out of the way. Yes, Gabby, let's get it out of the way. But, you know, I would say that when it comes to consequences with the positive and negative, if teaching is not attached to a consequence, it's not as effective.
Yeah.
Okay? So with that said, a consequence in and of itself, loss of that privilege, loss of that phone, right? You know, losing time. And I wouldn't just say lose it for the day, because if that phone is really the thing that motivates your child and then they just lose it altogether, then nothing, you have nothing else to motivate them for the day. So losing time to access it. So it's going in the basket, or going to a timeout box for a little bit if they're being inappropriate with their sister, or not following instruction, or not doing their homework, whatever the case may be. Maybe that phone is lost for a while because that's the thing that's motivating them. In the same vein, earning the phone by doing the behaviors you're supposed to do versus you just have the phone and I just take it away all the time. You have to earn the phone. So are you following instructions, doing your homework, being considerate of others, whatever their focus is, then that earns them that phone time versus it's a given that they're going to have the phone. It isn't a given. It is an earned thing, you know. So I would make it, you lose it as a consequence based on your behavior in the world. Okay, you lose time on your screen, and you earn time on the screen. But both of those situations, there should be teaching attached to it. So if I tell a kid, all right, you've lost time on your phone because you didn't follow instructions and do your chore, you'll be able to earn some time by looking at me right now, say, okay, do your chore and check back in 10 minutes before this timer goes off on your phone. So, and see if they can do that. Wow, you came back and you got your chore. I see it's all, you know, clean and great. You've earned 5 more minutes. You know, you want to do this next thing. So kids can know, hey, I will need to. They seem to believe that this is a right and not a privilege, right? So I don't think of it like that. I think it is a privilege to have a cell phone versus it's a right. And it's a safeguard and a responsibility to have a cell phone, or to be on the internet. It's a big responsibility. So you have to show me in real time that you can be responsible.
Hmm. Definitely. So, how can Boys Town Common Sense Parenting Classes help parents learn more?
Tell me that last part I didn't hear.
Yeah, how can our CSP classes help parents learn more about online safety for kids?
Well, I think that the classes are going to teach you not only online safety, it's going to teach you more about how to talk to kids about online safety
Yeah.
so that they'll listen to you about online safety. It's going to talk to you about how to use motivators for kids to follow through on the rules about online safety. It's going to give you an opportunity to have these things we call family meetings so that everybody gets on the same page about, using screen time. So all the things that we teach in the class really just support parents when it comes to dealing with technology, with media, or just their kids' interaction with screens or phones.
Yes. So, for all the parents watching, I will make sure to link in our comments the Common Sense Parenting class sign up. And they are still all virtual due to the pandemic. So, you can join from anywhere, no matter where you live, and learn all of these great tips from Bridget and her team with Common Sense Parenting.
Yes, and
So,
Gabby, don't forget to mention our online uh, website that has some really great
yeah.
articles up there. It has great links for young people to talk to other young people. Your Life, Your Voice is an excellent, excellent app. I think every kid should have, and we encourage our parents to get that for their children.
Yeah. So when I was preparing for this interview, I went on the Boys Town Parenting website and I searched
Mhm.
the word internet. And that brought up every single article we have all about internet safety tips and how to promote internet safety in the home, resources for parents. And we even have a list of websites that you should avoid or try to teach your kids and Q&As, everything that you could think of we have. So I will put that in too. And please, please take time to browse through these because I think you're going to find it useful. Great. Well, with
Great.
that, Bridget, thank you so much for joining us for our presentation. We look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Bye bye.